Now live on YouTube, starting us up on the Rumble. And hello, good morning. Welcome to This Day in History, aka TDH. This show is about what happened to date throughout the annals of recorded history. Starting with, what do we have on December 5th? We got a BC one here.
Ooh, 63 BC Roman consul Cicero delivers the last of his famous Catiline orinations before the Senate on the fate of the Catiline conspirators.
Well, right off the bat, that's different than from what it said yesterday. So I have to actually put that in here, and um, yeah, next year I get to add in because that section, that second section there before the Senate on the fate of the Catalan conspirators was not in there yesterday, and it was not in
Ooh,
the secondary source either. So that is brand new information to me right off the shoot. Wow. Moving on up, what do we got here in 771?
1771 Charlemagne becomes the sole king of the Franks after his death of his brother Carloman.
Yes, and this is the Charlemagne, as you can see here, Holy Roman Emperor. He would become the Holy Roman Emperor, the very first one, I believe, um, or at least the most known, at least to me. We have an off a main source here. 1033, the Jordan Rift Valley earthquake destroyed multiple cities across the Levant, triggering a tsunami and killed many. I'm not sure, how many, how much damage. Well, several cities are gone, but how big were cities back then? So,
Yeah, really.
yeah. 1082 here, Reman Berenguer II, Count of Barcelona. No, Barcelona. Was assassinated, most likely by his brother, Berenguer Raymond II. So, yeah, brother killing brother over here. That's not cool there. 3049, known today as the Black Death Massacre, 500 Jews, pardon me, a free imperial city of Nuremberg were massacred during the Black Death riots, becoming part of a wave of pogroms across Western Europe. So
Oh,
here we go again. The Jews are getting blamed for this. Like
at
now,
least we got a reason this time.
yeah, well, I
I
mean,
mean,
they
it's absurd, but
obviously they
what?
didn't do it. They hated the Jews, to this extent already. They were just looking for an excuse. So this is not you know, like many other articles, which we're actually going to have one of those articles later in today's show. Sorry.
It just occurred to me
Yeah.
that the only time a reason is listed for the Jews being kicked out of somewhere is when it's the absurd reason.
Yes. Yeah. Or massacred or something like that. Yeah, you're right. Well, gonna move on up here. It's 1360. The French franc was created, and we actually have a picture here. And this is the French franc. It's a coin, and it's one French dollar or whatever. Uh, Anyway, moving on up, 1408, seeking to re-subjugate Muscovy, Emir Edigu of the Golden Horde reached Moscow, burning areas around the city but failing to take the city itself. All right. And if there's a video out there, I'm sure there's multiple, but I've seen this one video where it talks about how Russia is only a buffer between Moscow and its enemies. Everything revolves around Moscow. Russia did, the Soviet Union did, Russia today, still does. Everything about a whole Iron Curtain around Russia, all of Russia around Moscow. It's all just occupied, just land to distance Moscow from its enemies. That's the core fundamental belief right there, according to that one video. Moving on up to 1448, Bishop Jonah of Moscow was chosen as Metropolitan of Kiev / intoxication. What? That was 1448 here, so that is not on main source. So I don't know why I didn't do my exclamation point there. So, um, that's interesting. Bishop Jonah of Moscow was chosen as Metropolitan of Kiev / intoxication. Intoxication? What does that mean? Are they drunk? 1456, the first of two earthquakes measuring MW 7.2 struck Naples, Italy, causing extreme destruction and killing upwards of between 35,000 to 70,000 people. That's a lot of people. 1484, Pope Innocent VIII issued the Summus Decenternus Affectivus, a papal bull that deputized Heinrich Kramer and Jacob Springers as inquisitors to root out alleged witchcraft in Germany. Nobody likes, witchcraft, especially, wherever you're at. So, I'm about to sneeze, so one moment. Sorry about that. Moving on up, 1492, explorer of the New World, Christopher Columbus became the first European to sight Hispaniola, known today as the Dominican Republic and Haiti. All right. 1496, hold on a second, one moment, about to sneeze again. My apologies. When you gotta sneeze, you gotta sneeze. It's gonna come out, and I'd rather, not, be blowing my nose up all in, your ear holes. So, and I'm about to, hold on a second. I don't know what demon has possessed my nasal cavities, but he's not completely out yet. Anyway, 1496, King Manuel I of Portugal issued a decree ordering the expulsion of Jews from the country. As I was explaining earlier, we're going to be talking about this, and here we are. I'm not sure if there's another one, but two in one day. What keeps happening? It takes two to tango, but it takes one to start. And as I've said many times before, I really doubt every single time happens just because people wake up one morning and they're just like, oh, hey, let's just, for no reason at all, hate these people. No, something happens. So, anyway, 1560, 13-year-old Charles IX became King of France with Queen Mother Catherine de' Medici as regent. And I'm wondering if it's saying Queen Mother because she was his mother and also the Queen. I mean, that would make sense. But is that just the way it was written? It also sounds like a royal title. So, need to verify that. Moving on up to 1623, the first copies purchased of playwright William Shakespeare's first folio, collecting his plays posthumously into one volume, was bought by Edward Deering. And I wonder for how much. Let's see here. How much? And I'm about to sneeze again, but I'm going to get through this one here. Hopefully King can take 1717 when I'm done with the 1649. The town of Rahi, which is Swedish for Barastad, was founded by Count Per Bra the Younger. Alright, so if you live in that town, happy establishing day. I will get to 1717 in one moment. Alright. 1717, English pirate Blackbeard ransacked the merchant sloop Margaret and kept her captain Henry Bostock prisoner for 8 hours before releasing him. Bostock later provided the first record of Blackbeard's appearance and the source for his name. And his name was like Edward Teach or something. Yeah, Edward Teach or Edward Thatch. So one of those two. So hold on a second. Edward Teach or Edward Thatch. English pirate Blackbeard. Here, one second. Alright, I'll fix that a little bit better next year. Moving on up, yeah, here we have a photo of Blackbeard, so let me bigger this here. So, not a photo, but like an artist renditioning, or whatever. So, yep. Anyway, moving on up. 1766, in London, auctioneer James Christie held his first sale at the largest auction house in the world at the time, Pall Mall. I'm not sure if it's still, around. If it's still the largest auction house, I don't know. Specifically in his permanent sale room. Alright, so he has his own sale room. That's pretty cool. Off a main source here, 1770, the 29th Regiment of Foot Privates Hugh Montgomery and Matthew Kilroy. So, they're the 29th Regiment of Foots. Their ranks are privates. So the privates, Hugh Montgomery and Matthew Kilroy, were found guilty for the manslaughter of Sirius Arux and Samuel Gratt, respectively, in the Boston Massacre. Ooh, wow. And that was the shot heard around the world, right? So, another off a main source here, 1775, at Fort Ticonderoga, Henry Knox began his historic transport of artillery to Cambridge, Massachusetts. And we have right here, and apparently this is like some big thing. It was talking about like some like the road to hell or whatever, or something like. So apparently it was a very arduous undertaking, but he got it done. Moving on up here, what else do we got? 1776, Phi Beta Kappa, the first and oldest academic honor society in the United States of America, formed and held its first meeting at the College of William and Mary. We have a discrepancy though. Like for the past couple of days, we haven't been doing a show, but I have been record keeping every historical thing I can find between the two sources, because as you can see here, we've been reading specifically the ones with these little hyphens on it, but if it doesn't have one, I skip over it. So that way I have everything on a surface level, historically, on a day-to-day basis, backed up on my own side. And, I mark what's read, mark is what is from, not main source, that's what the exclamation point is for. Just to let you, have a little insight on how we read these documents here. But as I was saying, the past couple of days, we've had a couple articles claiming to be the first, and I don't believe that it's the same one. Maybe some of them are, but it's still, like, kind of weird, because even if they are all the same one, okay, which date is it? Like, which date were they founded? So, anyway, 1792, founding father and first president of the United States of America, George Washington, was re-elected, retaining his seat as Commander-in-Chief. Heck yes. We're going to be talking a lot about elections, and actually, we have one here in 1804. Good Sir King, if you wouldn't mind, because I'm about to sneeze again.
1804, Thomas Jefferson re-elected U.S. President, and George Clinton elected Vice President.
I'm wondering if he has any relation to, Bill Clinton, Hillary Clinton. Well, probably not Hillary, it'd be on Bill's side, but...
There is a George Clinton. He's a artist, singer.
Huh. Alright. What do we got here?
1815, foundation of Maceió in Brazil.
Alright, that sounds like some city or something. We got another one here in 1831.
1831, former U.S. President John Quincy Adams takes his seat as member of House of Representatives.
All right, that's pretty cool. So, like, he served his time as president. He's now serving, smaller cabinets. But, like, man, what an experience to have, 1832 here, General and President of the United States of America, Andrew Jackson, was re-elected, defeating Speaker of the House, Senator, and U.S. Secretary of State, Henry Clay. All right. 1835, between now and the 10th, an assault on Mexican-held San Antonio by Texan rebels occurred. And, this is around the time of, I believe, the Texas Revolution against Mexico. The Alamo... When was the Alamo? Let's look this up here. When was the Alamo? Somewhere around this time. February 23rd. Okay, but what year? 1836. So yeah, this is just the next year. So wow. There you go. What else do we have here? 1846, German-Swiss chemist Christian Friedrich Schoenbein obtained a patent for cellulose nitrate explosive. Ooh. Alright then. 1847, oh, here we go.
1847, Jefferson Davis is appointed to fill vacant U.S. Senate seat for Mississippi.
Sorry about that, was sneezing again. And that word concerns me. Appointed, not elected. So he was put there.
Yeah.
And as we know about Jefferson Davis, he would become the president of the Confederate States of America, and I think his inauguration actually was just a few days ago in history. 1848. This is really big here.
1848, U.S. President James K. Polk triggers the gold rush of 1849 by confirming a gold discovery in California.
Yeah, good old Sutter's Mill. Every Californian, at least mildly educated Californian, knows this whole story. They found a nugget in Sutter's Mill. You know, they looked for more. They kept finding stuff. Eventually, news got out, and then yeah, the rest, as they say, is history. 1854, Aaron Allen of Boston patented the folding theater chair. Oh yeah, so right here we have a newspaper clipping of the gold rush. Like, that's the newspaper there. Steamship, Nicaragua, 200 jackasses. They're talking about, donkeys, for mining operations and whatnot. But still, that's it's always interesting to peer back in history and look at things. And this is a patent, for the folding theater chair. We all know about those. Like, if you've ever been to a theater, the seats that flip up and down. So this one appears to be the flipper is the actual armrest. Do you see that? It looks like that. It looks like the armrest.
Yeah.
It looks like the armrest goes down this way, and like it does like a grasshopper leg thing. I got a DM here from he's talking to me about Aristotle. Anyway, moving on up. Let's see here. 1862, the Battle of Coffeeville. Hey, coffee. Saw Confederate forces halt General and future President of the United States of America Ulysses S. Grant's Mississippi invasion via Tennessee. All right, so I guess yeah, that was Ulysses S. Grant, not Sherman. Sherman's March to the Sea. It was covered recently as well. 1865, during the Chincha Islands War, Peru allied with Chile against Spain. Okay. 1868, trying to keep the primary source synchronized with the script here. What do we got here in 1868? The first American bicycle college opened in New York. And I'm wondering, New York City, obviously it would be states if it was a city, but is it somewhere else in New York, like Albany or, New Brunswick? No, New Brunswick somewhere else. Anyway, 1872, the ship Mary Celeste was discovered mysteriously abandoned by her crew in the Atlantic Ocean. And I've heard about that ship title, the Mary Celeste. It's kind of relatively known in the annals of recorded history, especially maritime people. 1876, Daniel Stilson of Massachusetts patented the first practical pipe wrench. So that's why we saw this earlier. Good old classic pipe wrench. I mean, somebody had to invent it, somebody had to patent it, somebody had to make it. It hasn't always been around, You see this and you start to really think and realize that, so many things that you just take for granted. Like scissors, or canned air, or a hairbrush, robe, table, wall, window, computer. I could just list things on my desk, a lighter. Everything has been invented somewhere, somehow. There was one point in human history where it didn't exist. And that's wild to think,
Yeah, that's wild.
What else do we got here? 1876, fire at the Brooklyn Theater killed 295 people, being them trampled or burned to death. Yikes.
Yeah, isn't that why you can't scream fire in a crowded building anymore?
That is, well, a lot of people are doing stupid pranks, how these YouTubers and everything are. Well, people have always been like that, for their own kicks. They go into crowded places and they yell stupid things to get a reaction, and that's why we made things like that illegal, so that way they actually suffer a by law punishment. you know. So, um, but yeah, like you're not allowed to yell fire, like in a theater and all that stuff. Like that is
I'm
literally
saying,
against the law.
is it that particular time, that day?
Uh,
Is
I'm not sure. Like I don't think that they would make a
okay.
law because of what might happen. I think they make laws because of what has happened.
No,
I'm not sure.
that
I'm
no,
sorry.
it did happen.
Well, yeah. Well,
Yeah.
no. It happened, but it didn't happen because somebody just yelled fire when there wasn't a fire.
Oh,
Like, see, if there is a fire, you yell fire, then you won't get affected by the law because it is illegal to yell fire in a theater. But if there's no fire, then you can actually get
uh,
legally reprimanded. But if
yeah.
there is a fire, then it's a warning. You won't get punished for helping people save lives. So like they would make a law, but by what hasn't happened or has happened, by that I mean like they would most likely not say that they
Okay.
did or they didn't, but they most likely it would be reactatory, and they make a law after somebody did it as a prank to prevent it from happening again without recourse.
We still take protocols though. Like,
Yeah.
you don't yell fire when there's a fire. You're the manager. Like, hey, everybody's gotta go
Well,
get in
that's
line by single order and start, walking
true.
out.
That's a position of power. That's their their job to do. Like if you're just like some random patron, you know, you won't be calm. You'll be like, holy shit, there's a fire. I don't know. I don't know. That's something to look into. Anyway, we got something here in 1879. If I can, there it is.
1879, first automatic telephone switching system patented.
All right, that's pretty interesting. Like
And
that's way early.
yeah, put a lot of women out of work doing that. I don't agree with it.
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure like telephone
I'm a
switchers.
Luddite.
Yeah,
It's just gonna put people out of work.
that is true. That is
It
the
put a
worst
lot.
of.
Well, it did put a lot of people out of work.
Yeah.
How many people are sitting there doing this all day?
Oh, a lot. But I think that those were still around until the 1920s, maybe. Like, I don't know. Like, but you're 100% right. Like, that brings up like a whole thing. Like, we've discussed off air how scared, not scared, but concerned I am about like AI and robotics taking all human jobs. So that's a whole conversation for a different show. Moving on up into 1893, actually, this one's rather interesting.
1893, electrical car built at the Dixon Carriage Works in Toronto could go 15 miles between charges.
That's not bad. When you think about it, like, it says here, on this day in 1893, Canada's first electric car built at the Dixon Carriage Works in Toronto could go 15 miles between charges. Phaedrus Hogg was an enthusiast of new technologies and was most notably an early adopter of the electric automobile. After 7 years, the world's first practical gasoline engine car was patented by Germany's Carl Benz. So the electric car came out before the combustion engine, which would make sense, I think. Yeah, so electricity was before engines. That's wild to think about because we think about engines producing electricity, but the actual electric technology, my brain's my stoner brain's starting to like drift away. So we got to get back on track here. 1895, we got off a main source. New Haven Symphony Orchestra of Connecticut performed its first concert. It's pretty cool. 1908, where is it? Here it is. Ooh.
First U.S. football uniforms, numerals used in University of Pittsburgh.
Yeah, and we have a picture. I'm not sure if this is the exact right one, but the Pittsburgh Steelers, right now, here in 1933, we have this uniform, and that looks really cool. Honestly, like that's a nice design. What year specifically was this? This is
It's like a
1908.
soccer outfit.
Yeah, yeah, it does. Then 1960 though, so we do a massive jump. So we have here numerals, but 1908 is 52 years before that, so they don't really. Oh wait a minute, no, they have 1939, 1954. Wow, dude, look at this one with the stripes. It looks like they're a referee, but like sun bleached. Weird. Anyway, well that was the closest picture I could find at the time. Anyway, 1912. This is pretty eyebrow raising here.
1912, the Triple Alliance among Italy, Austria, and Germany, originally signed in 1882, is renewed for 6 years, beginning in 1914, a move inspired by instability in the Balkans.
Yep, the Baltic states, Latvia, Lithuania, and I keep forgetting the third one. But yeah, here we go. Germany, Austria, Hungary, and Italy, right there, right down the center. I mean, if you play any like strategy games, like this is like a great, strategic move here. Like they're all next to each other. They just solidify and brace themselves from all around. And but yeah, they did the attacking, not the defending, really. Um, hey, Alice, how you doing? Alice. Your mic is not working. Oh.
That's because I didn't say anything yet.
Oh, well, that's weird. Like. Anyway, moving on up, the direct after this article is this article, and Sir King, if you would like to read it, because I find this particularly humorous.
Me or a king?
Well, you
Alice.
can read it, Alice.
Alice, you do it.
Okay, 1914. The Italian Parliament proclaims the neutrality of the country.
That's little weird. So, like 1912, they signed on, renewing the Triple Alliance with Italy and Austria and Germany, like Italy, and then it was to renew it for 6 years, beginning in 1914. So, in the same year that it got renewed, then they declared neutrality. So those backpedaling sons of guns, like they were planning that move all along. Like those
dirty sons of bee stings.
I know, right? The freaking Italians, like I swear. Yo, what up, Ashley? How you doing?
Yo, Ashley.
Moving on up, off of main source here, 1914, the Imperial Trans-Arctic Expedition began in an attempt to make the first land crossing of Antarctica. Wow. So, during the age of exploration, figuring out what's around the world, 1919, off of main source as well, the Ukrainian War of Independence saw the Polonsky conspiracy get suppressed, and its participants were executed by the Kontrrazvedika. That does not sound good. And that group of people sounds like AstraZeneca. What else?
I said nicht so gut, which is not so good in German.
Yeah, you are correct. But 1920, what do we got here?
1920, we have pro football player Game Akron and Buffalo 0-0 tie, title undecided.
So that either means you're both really good or you both suck. Like
I'm gonna go with the latter.
I don't know, man. Like,
but that's just my personal opinion.
It could just be both.
Having an off day.
Have a really good defense. Both of them have really good defense and really shitty offenses.
That's true as well.
Yeah. It is true. It could have just been like, it's a no-sum win or whatever you call that.
Yeah. Off of main source here, 1921, the Football Association banned women's football in England from league grounds, a ban that stayed in place for 50 years, which is 5 decades or half a century. So that's ridiculous. So,
banned women from playing soccer?
Well, from playing on league grounds. They can still play, but just they have to go use a public park or something.
Oh, that's dumb.
Well, I mean, You know, back in the day, women, you know, and blacks and you know, non-white, non-mid people actually had issues, unlike today. You know, so
Yeah, I suppose you have a point there, buddy.
I mean, you know, like that's I mean, the civil rights movement, you know, suffrage, like so.
Well,
I'm
you need to
trying.
scroll down because I can't see anything else you're showing right now. Thank you very much.
Well, no, because like I'm trying to find something. I haven't gotten up to this point with my editing, so
Oh.
I don't have any marks to read things. So I'm just here's something. I found something here.
What we have here in 1929, the first U.S. nudist organization, the American League for Physical Culture, is in New York City.
All right.
Of
Thank you
course.
for that one to read.
Yeah, I just
course.
saw nudist. I'm like, hey, this is an Alice article. I mean,
I'm Lady Death, not Lady Nudist.
well, I mean, Alice, you're the only one I know who is naked around a fire. Like you know, that's just how hot you are. I don't know how else to explain it. Like.
So hot and tempting.
So hot, fry egg on leg. So hot.
Anyways, what we got here next, buddy?
This.
1932, German physicist Albert Einstein granted a visa to enter America.
All right, yeah. Getting the hell out of Germany, man. Getting the hell out of Germany.
Yep. Sounds about right. Good lord, it is windy out here.
Yeah. 1933 here, Prohibition ended in the United States at 5:32 p.m. Eastern Standard Time when the 21st Amendment to the United States Constitution was ratified, repealing the 18th Amendment. Yes!
Why at 5:32 p.m. of all time?
Because that's when they signed it, I guess. Like.
Oh, yeah, I suppose. I got
like, I don't know.
Well, actually, you do know that Prohibition hasn't been fully lifted, actually. Due to certain brewing limitations for the American people.
Yeah, that's right. Like
because you're moonshine and shit.
Yeah.
Bathtub gin and all that fun stuff. Yeah. As a brewer myself, that's why I know that.
All right. 1935 here, the first commercial hydroponics operation was established. Hydroponics. Why does it sound familiar? What is hydroponics?
It's where you don't use dirt. To grow
water.
Oh, okay.
You just use water.
Okay. Oh, that's really interesting. So some science stuff right there. Specifically in Montebello, California. Hey, California was useful for something at one point. So. Let's see here. 1936. Who wants to take this?
1936, Armenian, SSR, Azerbaijan, SSR, Georgian, SSR, Kazakh, SSR, and Kyrgyz, SSR become constitute republics of the Soviet Union.
Yep. This happened because, from my other source here, it says the Soviet Union adopted a new constitution, and the Kyrgyz Soviet Socialist Republic was established as a full Union Republic of the USSR, and that's one of the ones that you listed here at the end, the Kyrgyz SSR. So, 1941 here. Oh, well, that's just
Sullivan's Travels, directed by Peter Susan, starring. Oh, this is the movie.
Yeah.
Sullivan's. Right.
Yeah. Sorry, like why don't we go ahead and wrap up the show here? That way, like maybe I'll get us a more substantial show tomorrow. But hey, we got through some pretty good stuff, interesting things, So, but yeah, so we'll conclude the show here. Please check again, check the underbar of the description below for any links that you may be interested in, including but not limited to all things Omni Coalition. A lot of history has and continues to be made on a daily basis. Like, we only got, 1941? Like,
yeah.
So
go search.
Yeah, go to our sources. Like, we only showed you a portion to, hopefully.
Like, I didn't know the electrical car was made before the.
I know, that was wild.
Gas vehicle.
Yeah. Yeah, 7 years before. Anyway, for your dose of Past Events Daily, we stream, whenever we stream it at 11 in the morning Pacific times. We're going to try to do a show tomorrow. Like, I'm going to try to get back into doing it, like, not every single day, but you know, we've kind of like been sporadic the past couple of weeks here because of Thanksgiving and putting up Christmas lights and all that stuff. But anyway, we do have other shows, you know, from history to news, movie reactions and reviews, gaming, videos and memes, Omni Kitchen, and everything else in between on Talk Show. Check the Underbar. For all of you and all of us, I'm Xander.
King's Refuge.
And in the live studio audience, we have Lost Rat King and Who is Alice, aka Danny Cakes, aka Danny Cakes McGee, aka Stapes, aka Nipple Wrapped, aka Warqueef, aka Cupcake. She has many aliases. Maybe that's why we have, you know, Ghostery, who is a Fed. She's probably hunting her down. So, yeah. And of course, you viewer, you. Thank you so much for watching. And until you catch us next time, whatever that is, wherever that is, don't forget to look right and left at every intersection, rate 5 thumbs, and subscribe. Toodles!
Deuces.
And in there, and there.